I turned the key in the lock, the click of the deadbolt too loud in the stillness of the evening. I wasn't supposed to be home. Not tonight. Not for 3 more days. The conference in Chicago had ended abruptly when the keynote speaker canceled, and instead of texting her, I'd booked the first flight back. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe I just wanted to surprise her. Or maybe some part of me already knew. The house smelled like vanilla and wood polish, the way it always did when she'd just cleaned. The entryway was spotless, shoes lined up neatly, coats hung in perfect rows. I dropped my suitcase by the door, the wheels rolling soundlessly over the hardwood. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that prickles the back of your neck. Then I heard it. Her laugh. Bright. Effortless. The kind she used to give me freely back when we still touched without thinking. And then another laugh. Deeper. Unfamiliar. My breath caught. The keys in my hand suddenly felt heavy. The living room was just down the hall, the warm glow of the lamps spilling onto the floor. I could see the edge of the coffee table from where I stood. 2 wine glasses sat on it. One was hers, the etched crystal one I'd given her for our anniversary. The other was a plain tumbler. Not ours. I didn't move, didn't make a sound. The house held its breath with me. And then from the living room, the low murmur of a man's voice. I stepped forward. For a second, I just stood there, keys digging into my palm. My brain scrambled to make sense of it. Maybe it was the TV. Maybe one of her girlfriends had come over with a boyfriend in tow. Maybe. Then I heard it again. That low, intimate murmur. Not the sharp cadence of dialogue from some show. Not the bright chatter of friends laughing over wine. This was something quieter, something private. I moved down the hall on autopilot, my dress shoes silent against the hardwood. The living room door was half closed, casting a sliver of yellow light across the floor. I could see the edge of our couch, the cream-colored one we'd picked out together, the one she always fretted over keeping clean. A man's shoe came into view first. Polished leather, resting casually on the edge of our coffee table like he owned the place. Then the cuff of dark jeans, the relaxed sprawl of someone completely at ease. My stomach dropped. I didn't push the door open. Not yet. Some part of me still hoped, still needed to be wrong. Maybe it was her brother visiting unannounced. Maybe it was a coworker, some harmless after-work drink that meant nothing. Then she laughed again, soft and breathy, the way she used to laugh when I'd whisper something stupid in her ear during a movie. And then his voice, warm and amused. "You're terrible." The familiarity in his tone hit me like a punch. This wasn't a first-time conversation. This wasn't some random guy. They knew each other. Well, I stepped closer, my pulse roaring in my ears. Through the gap in the door, I could see her now, curled up at the end of the couch, her legs tucked under her, that oversized sweater she loved slipping off one shoulder. She was smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. And him, dark hair, mid-30s, one arm draped along the back of the couch behind her. Close, too close. A jacket was slung over the armchair, a black peacoat I didn't recognize. My throat tightened. I could have walked in then, could have thrown the door open and let the scene play out in real time. But something held me back. Some last, desperate attempt to spare myself. Maybe if I didn't see it, it wouldn't be real. Then she reached out, her fingers brushing his knee, and I knew. Time slowed to a crawl as I pushed the door open. The hinges didn't creak. She'd oiled them last month, complaining about the noise. Funny, the details your brain latches onto when it's trying to avoid the obvious. They didn't notice me at first. He had his hand on her thigh now, fingers tracing idle circles through the fabric of her leggings. Her head was tilted back, resting against the couch, eyes half-lidded in a way I recognized instantly. That look, part contentment, part anticipation. I'd seen it 1,000 times before, just never directed at someone else. A wine bottle sat on the table between them, the good Cabernet, the one we were saving for our anniversary. 2 glasses, both half empty. His lips were stained faintly purple. I must have made a sound then, a sharp inhale or the scrape of my shoe against the floor because her head snapped toward me. For a heartbeat, nobody moved. Her lips parted. No words came out. The color drained from her face so fast it was almost comical. The man, who the hell was he, froze mid-laugh, his hand stilling on her leg. I should have been furious, should have thrown something, screamed, dragged him off my couch by his collar. But all I felt was cold. a deep, spreading numbness that started in my chest and radiated outward until even my fingertips felt like ice. "Don't stop on my account," I heard myself say. My voice sounded foreign, calm, almost conversational. The man jerked his hand away like he'd been burned. "Shit!" She scrambled upright, knocking over her wine glass. The red spread across the coffee table in a slow, dark stain. "It's not," she started, then stopped. What could she possibly say? The silence stretched. I could hear the clock ticking in the kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator, the too loud sound of my own breathing. He stood up abruptly, awkwardly adjusting his shirt. "I should—" "Yeah," I said. "You should." He moved toward the door like he expected me to block his path. I didn't. Just stepped aside, watching as he grabbed his jacket, as he fumbled with the doorknob, as he disappeared into the night without another word. The front door clicked shut behind him. And then it was just us. Just me and my wife and the spreading wine stain on the table between us. She was crying now, silent tears streaking her makeup. "Please, let me explain." I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time since I'd walked in. The sweater I'd bought her last Christmas, the tiny freckle by her left eyebrow I used to kiss, the wedding band still on her finger, and all I could think was, how many times before tonight? The wine kept spreading, a dark pool creeping toward the edge of the table. I watched a single drop hit the floor before I finally spoke. "How long?" My voice didn't sound like mine, too flat, too controlled. She wiped at her cheeks with trembling fingers. "It's not what you—" "How long?" The clock in the kitchen ticked 3 times before she answered. 3 months. The number landed like a physical blow. 3 months, 12 weekends, 90 days of lies. I did the math automatically. That took us back to her sister's wedding in June. The weekend she'd gone up early, said she wanted to help with preparations. I remembered texting her that Saturday night. Remembered her short replies. "Busy with decorations?" "Tired. Talk tomorrow." "You met him at the wedding?" It wasn't a question. She nodded, fresh tears spilling over. "He was one of the photographers. It just— Don't." I held up a hand. "Don't tell me how it just happened." The air between us felt charged, like before a storm. I could see her mind racing, searching for the right words, the magic combination that would make this okay. There weren't any. "I was going to end it," she whispered. That made me laugh, a sharp, ugly sound. "When?" "After our next anniversary?" She flinched. The clock kept ticking. Somewhere outside, a car door slammed. Normal sounds from a world that kept spinning while mine had just shattered. I walked to the mantel, to the framed photos of us. Yosemite, our honeymoon, that stupid pumpkin patch last fall. All those moments now tainted. "Who knows?" I asked. "What?" "Who knows about you two, my brother, your girlfriends? Was I the last to find out?" Her silence answered for her. I took my wedding ring off then, set it on the mantel with a quiet click. The indentation on my finger stood out pale against my skin. "You should go." "Where?" "Not my problem anymore." She stood there, swaying slightly, like she might collapse or scream or both. Then her shoulders slumped in defeat. She grabbed her purse, hesitated at the door. "Will you—" "No." The door closed behind her with finality. Alone at last, I stared at the wine stain, at the 2 abandoned glasses, at the life I'd walked in on 3 hours early. I picked up his glass first, held it up to the light, then threw it hard against the wall. The glass shattered with a sound like winter ice breaking. Shards skittered across the hardwood, catching the lamplight as they fell. I stared at the glittering mess, my breath coming in short, ragged bursts. Then I was moving, grabbing my keys, slamming the front door behind me, leaving the house and its ghosts behind. The night air hit my face like a slap. I didn't know where I was going, just away. My car started on the first try. The engine's familiar growl usually soothed me. Tonight, it just sounded hollow. I pulled out of the driveway too fast, tires screeching. The streets blurred past, red lights, stop signs. I ran one without thinking. No cops, no consequences. Just the hum of the road and the white noise in my skull. 3 months. The words looped in my head, each repetition carving deeper. 3 months of her laughing with him. 3 months of her touching him. 3 months of her coming home to me afterward, kissing me with those same lips. I gripped the wheel until my knuckles ached. The signs for the highway appeared. I took the on-ramp without deciding to. Speed climbed. 70, 80, 90. Wind roared through the cracked window. Maybe I hoped it would blow the memories away. It didn't. Instead, they came sharper. The late nights at work she'd mentioned. The new password on her phone. That weekend she'd gone hiking with Jenna. Had he been there too? Had they laughed about me afterward? My vision tunneled. I forced myself to slow down, to pull over at a rest stop. The parking lot was empty except for a lone semi-truck, its driver probably asleep in the cab. I killed the engine. Silence rushed in. Then without warning, I was screaming, raw, guttural shouts that tore my throat. I punched the steering wheel until my hands burned. The horn blared once, a pathetic bleat swallowed by the night. When the rage passed, exhaustion took its place. I slumped forward, forehead pressed to the wheel. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Her, probably. I didn't check. The dashboard clock read 1:17 a.m. I'd been driving for hours. I looked at myself in the rearview mirror. Red-rimmed eyes, stubble coming in uneven, a stranger's face. My phone buzzed again. Then again. I turned it off. For the first time in years, I had nowhere to be. No one waiting, no one to answer to. The freedom tasted like ashes. The morning light through my brother's kitchen window was too bright. I sat at his table, hands wrapped around a coffee mug that had gone cold, replaying the words I'd just said out loud for the first time. She's been sleeping with someone else. Mark didn't react at first. Just set down his own coffee and exhaled slowly through his nose. His wedding ring glinted as he drummed his fingers once on the table. "Fuck," he finally said. That was it. No platitudes. No, "I'm so sorry." Just fuck. That's why I'd come here first. He leaned forward, elbows on the table. "Who is he?" "Photographer. Met him at Lisa's wedding." Mark's jaw tightened. "That was in June." "Yeah." The silence stretched. Outside, a lawnmower started up somewhere down the street. Normal people living normal lives. "You want me to talk to him?" Mark's voice had gone dangerously calm. I shook my head. "Not worth it." "She's been lying to you for months, bro." "That's worth something." I stared into my coffee. "I just need to know, did you suspect anything?" Mark hesitated a second too long. "Jesus." I pushed back from the table. "You knew?" Number not new. He ran a hand through his hair. "But last month when we had dinner, remember how she kept texting? You said it was work, but..." He trailed off. I did remember. She'd left the table twice to take calls, came back smelling faintly of mint gum like she'd just brushed her teeth. My phone buzzed on the table. Her name flashed across the screen for the 12th time that morning. I silenced it again. Mark watched me. "What are you going to do?" "Lawyer. Divorce." The words came out easier than I expected. He nodded. "Good." Then quieter. "Mom's going to lose her shit." That almost made me laugh. My mother had adored Emily, bought her birthday presents months in advance, called her the daughter I never had. My phone buzzed again. A new notification. Emily. "Please just tell me you're safe." I typed one word. "Fine," then blocked her number. Mark's wife, Sarah, appeared in the doorway then, their toddler on her hip. She took one look at us and immediately turned around. Smart woman. "You can stay here as long as you need," Mark said. I nodded, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline had burned out, leaving nothing but hollowed-out certainty. It was over. The coffee shop was too loud, clattering dishes, hissing steam, a dozen overlapping conversations. I sat facing the door, watching her walk in. She looked different. No wedding ring. Dark circles under her eyes. She slid into the chair across from me like she wasn't sure she was allowed. "Thanks for meeting me." I didn't answer. Just waited. She took a shaky breath. "I need you to understand..." "No." My voice came out colder than I intended. "I don't need to understand. You asked to talk. So talk." Her hands trembled around her coffee cup. I felt invisible. You were always working or distracted or... Stop. I leaned forward. If you were unhappy, you could have said something, could have asked for counseling, could have left. My throat tightened. You didn't have to fuck someone else in our home. A couple at the next table glanced over. Emily flushed. I didn't plan it, she whispered. That's worse. I pushed my untouched coffee away. Because that means you chose it, again and again, every day for months. That's not a mistake, that's who you are. She started crying then, quiet tears dripping into her latte. Part of me, the part that had loved her for 7 years, ached to reach out. The newer, harder part kept my hands still. Are you with him now? I asked. She hesitated. That was answer enough. I stood, dropping a 20 on the table. Good luck. Wait, she grabbed my wrist. Don't we deserve some kind of closure? I pulled free. You got that the moment I walked through the door? Outside, the sun was blinding. I took a deep breath, half expecting pain. Instead, there was just quiet. The divorce papers would arrive at her apartment tomorrow. Some moments carve themselves into your bones. The doctor's voice saying, it's malignant. The screech of tires before impact. The way a door sounds when it closes for the last time. For me, it will always be the sight of my wife's bare feet tucked under a stranger's thigh on our couch. The way her toenails were still painted that soft pink I'd picked out for her. The way his hand rested possessively on her knee like he had every right to be there. I replay it sometimes in the quiet hours, not to torture myself, but to remember, to etch the lesson deep. Love is not a guarantee. Trust is not a force field. You can build a life with someone for years, only to watch them dismantle it in an afternoon. The divorce was finalized last week. Mutual, uncontested. She kept the house. I couldn't stand a walk through those rooms again. My lawyer said I could have taken her for more, but what's the point? No amount of money unbreaks what's broken. Sometimes I wonder if she thinks about that moment too. If she lies awake, seeing the look on my face when I stepped into the room. If she regrets the wine glasses left on the table, the too familiar way they touched where anyone could have seen. But mostly I think about this. She thought I wouldn't be home, but I was, and now she's not.